Hello again, Michael Freeberg here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I have two related products for review. It is the coffee spoon shaving soap from Storybook Soapworks. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I wish I'd taken a picture of this when I first got it because it had a very cool pattern on the top, but unfortunately, as you can see, it's been scraped. That was me scraping out some for the loading bowl. The soap scent here is the coffee spoons, and this is a really tremendously rich coffee scented soap. So you sort of get two different coffee scents mixed together. It's made apparently with Brazilian coffee essential oils, and then it also has Colombian cold brew coffee included in the soap, so you get a really strong kind of a very persistent coffee scent. It reminds me a bit of the Ula coffee scented shaving soap, but a little bit richer in its scent. This is a tallow-based soap. It is a softish hard soap, or a hardish soft soap. It's not a crope really. It's definitely harder than some of the traditional soft Italian soaps. It is a tallow-based soap, but it also includes rice bran oil, avocado oil, and apricot kernel oil. And I'll talk a bit about what the impact that has on in the lather in just a minute. I have, of course, some of this scooped into the Captain's Choice loading bowl, and I'll be loading from that in just a moment. The brush for today, which again we'll be seeing some action momentarily, is the Rodneep Olive Small, the midget boar brush. Today's razor is going to be a return of the Schick Injector. This is the Type I 1955 to 1958. Wonderful razor. This is still the blade from the last time that I used this in the video. I simply dried it really carefully, put it away, and left it in there because the blade was still going strong. I think this will be shave number 12, 13, maybe 14. So let me go ahead and get my face wet. Go ahead and start lathering. Yeah, the Storybook Soapworks. I think each of the soap descriptions has a piece of poetry quoted from T.S. Eliot. Big T.S. Eliot fan, or at least used to be. I haven't read him obviously in many years, but it's nice to see something like the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock make a comeback for the artisan soap makers. All right, there you go. You can see pressed in there. I'm going to start off with a relatively dry brush, and we'll start working on loading the brush. I found that this soap definitely works best if you start with a little bit dry brush and just keep adding water. That seems to be really for most of the soaps I've used lately. I have not tried the really wet brush technique in quite a while, but you know, we'll see what happens in future. All right, you can see that's just starting, so I'm going to drip a bit of water in there. As you can see, it's building up a little bit of a foamy lather around the outsides, but not to worry. I'm just going to keep adding a bit of water. Definitely do not want to underload on this soap. The first 2 days I used it, I always try to just see just how little you really need. Just kind of experimenting with the soap. One benefit of having a week-long go to a particular product, you get a chance to play around a little bit. All right, I'm going to drip in a bit more water. You can see what's happening. Brush is getting nicely loaded. You can hear the lather become a little bit denser and wetter. That's looking very nice. Yeah, one more, just a tiny bit more, and then we'll start lathering up. There we go. That brush looks very nicely loaded. All right, I'm going to scoop out from the bowl. The soap has been very easy to work with, and the scent is persistent throughout the shave, so it's not quite as strong when you lather it as it is out of the container, but you can definitely still smell it, and the richness of the coffee scent actually comes out a bit while you're lathering. So maybe a little less strong in terms of the scent, but the quality of the scent really comes to life. Yeah, the reason I mentioned those three oils at the beginning, sort of reading off the ingredients, is that while this is a tallow-based soap, It does not seem to have the same sort of heaviness that some towel soaps have, where it just feels sort of either dense or overly fatty. I'm not sure if it's the ratio of those three oils in the soap or not, but this has a kind of very nice kind of a lightness to the lather. A bit more water. Yeah, there we go. Starting to get a nice shiny sleekness to it. Been very impressed with this soap, by the way. This is really easy to work with. I really like how it feels on the face. Scent is really well done. If you're interested in a coffee scent, this is 100% one you should try out. There we go. As you can see, a nice, easy lather. All right, Schick Injector. So this is, I've been shaving with this all week, so this will be shave number 6. This is 2 days worth of growth. I will say this is probably the closest to a cartridge feel for a shave of the razors that I have. It is exceptionally mild. There is zero issue with edge control or blade control. There's no flex or give in the blade. Razor is exceptionally easy to use. Now, many find this razor too just not efficient enough. It does take a bit of extra work, I feel like, to get as close a shave as you might like. But for a lot of people, that milder shave is really what they're looking for. Yeah, the trade-off is maybe a bit of extra work. But without the danger of, nicks or cuts or some razor burn. Yeah, really easy and quick. Soap does very, very well. That's plus 2 days worth of growth, shaved Friday morning. It's mid-Sunday afternoon. Nice slickness on that soap too. As you begin to rinse it, you add a bit more water. You get a nice layer of slickness. I'm just pulling out some extra from the bowl because there's still quite a bit in there. As you can see, it's retained a nice shiny sleekness. There is so much water rolling down my arm right now. Years of meditation have allowed me to ignore. I just can't. All right, that is going to be fine for pass number 2, which of course will be across the grain. Now, as I said, the razor is very mild, so there's a temptation during these second 2 passes, the last 2 passes, to kind of scrub a little bit. You just have to remind yourself not to give in to that. Very, very nice slickness. The soap is making the shave very easy. It's been a real pleasure all week. Even when I underloaded it, still performed pretty well. There's something about this razor which I sort of remember from last time as well, is that they don't feel particularly slick on the face. Flip side is Maybe it doesn't feel as slick on the face as some of the modern DE razors, but man, this is an easy shave. I'm definitely tempted to, I will leave the blade in because the only way to get the blade out is by replacing with another blade, which I don't want to put a brand new blade in there and just have it sit for months, so I'll leave this blade in there, but I have a suspicion that this one will work just as well. Might have another round of shaves in it. Still going strong. Very nice scent on that soap. Yeah, there's no overhang obviously on this razor. You know, the blade is entirely captured inside, and in fact, the blade's, because of the curvature, the end of the blade actually falls entirely within the confines of the head, so it's very easy to work it into the sort of those tight spots. All right, one more rinse, and final lather for the against the grain. I'm just going to take, just so you can see the inside of the bowl, I'm going ahead and scoop out a bit of the remaining lather if I need to. I'm going to load just a tiny bit more. Just wet the tips of the brush and just working it in there. So what I did, by the way, I don't know if people remember, but this is one of the brushes, the boar brushes that I soaked to try that breaking in tip. And while this brush still has quite a bit of backbone, it is certainly much softer after that soaking trick than it was before, so I would still highly recommend that for a new boar brush, or for an existing one that you're just struggling to have break in. Now previously, all I ever did with my boar brushes was I just used them every day. I just used them, and they all broke in relatively quickly. All right, there we go. I'm going to squeeze out a bit of the remainder and just paint it on. There we go. All right. Oh, I think I missed a spot. There we go. Okay, last pass against the grain. Yeah, zero issues with the soap so far in terms of something like dissipation or lather falling apart. None of it. Really, so far, been very pleased with the soap. You know, it's funny how it's sort of what I would call simple and very familiar scents like leather or coffee, just what pleasurable scents those are, and when they're done well, and this is an example of a very well done coffee scent, just real pleasure to use. Nothing against the the cologne scents or anything like that. But these kind of really straightforward, very familiar scents really, they really work for me. Buffing with this blade is absolutely no issue. It is in that regard quite mild. Never feels like the blade is somehow out of control or that the edge might somehow catch or twang. Downside is it takes a little more work to get that close a shave. Wow, fast and easy. So in terms of rinsing the soap, I would say sort of mid-tier recalcitrant, if that's a way to put it, which is that it's easy-ish to rinse. It's not immediately off, but it doesn't take too much work to get it off. There's a light layer of slickness. Now I wonder if that does have to do with the composition of the soap, in that, yes, it is a tallow-based soap, but it does feel a little bit lighter in use. It doesn't feel quite so heavy or maybe overly fatty as some of the other tallow-based soaps, which of course include often quite a wide variety of additional oils and butters. The 3 oils in this soap seem to make for a very nice, light, but still very, very slick and easy to lather tallow-based soap. Well, 2 days of growth completely gone. Post-shave on this so far has been very good, at least for me, and I am really having to watch my skin. For some reason, again, either very dry or irritated a little bit. So a good post-shave with a shaving soap is a big plus for me. Wow, zero irritation, no heat. That just shaves great. You know, fantastic combination with the soap. Now, the second product for today is going to be the matching splash coffee spoons. This is an alcohol-free splash. I don't really use many of these. This is entirely witch hazel based. So let me just read to you what's included in here. It's witch hazel, aloe, and then obviously things like water, fragrance, vegetable glycerin. And that's pretty much it. You know, it's a very, I don't want to say simple, but a very straightforward splash. No alcohol, witch hazel only. Now, the instructions for this say use a little bit, and I was definitely using too much the first couple of days. You need, I'm just putting in, that's probably even too much right there. Just, this would be hard to show you, but just, went everywhere. Very liquid, just a splash. You really just need a few drops. Now my face feels great, and my arm. Yeah, the first few days I was just putting on too much, and if you do, you have a bit of a slippery layer that remains behind. It doesn't completely dry down as quickly as it could. This is basically already done. Wow. Yeah, and the scent on the aftershave, to me, is more strongly scented of the cold brew, so it has a really intense, brief hit of the coffee. And the scent does not last that long. You know, this dries down very quickly. This is not a scent that you're going to be detecting for hours and hours afterwards. It's on, dries down, and then it should be pretty much done. I have to say, I really enjoyed using this the splash. It has been very, very good for my skin. I don't know if it's simply because of the lack of alcohol, but it just dries down easily and quickly. It doesn't feel sticky or tacky. Face feels really good, and absolutely zero heat in my skin after that shave. Yeah, just great stuff. Well, I mean, there's nothing more to do. I'm done. I'm shaved. I wasn't shaved, and now I am. So let's go ahead and just review again for today the products that we've used. Let's start off with the shaving soap, coffee spoons from Storybook Soapworks, and I'll show you again what it looks like. It is a soft on the hard side soap, or a hard dish soft soap, not really a croak, but harder than that. Gorgeous coffee scent. A tallow-based soap with the 3 additional oils. That was the rice bran, avocado, and apricot kernel oil. Very easy to lather. No issues with slickness or protection. It does feel, it has a nice light face feel to it. So even though it's a tallow-based soap, I feel like it still has a nice light touch to it. Relatively easy to rinse. It wasn't one of those soaps that takes a real while to come off. Post-shave, really quite nice. And then the second half of that equation, the Coffee Spoons Aftershave Splash, which, as I said only a few moments ago, is entirely witch hazel based. Very, very nice stuff. I think the scent is fantastic. I think it works, at least for me, works very well. I think this is the first witch hazel only splash I've used, I think. And I really, really quite like how that works. The Rod Neep olive wood hourglass handle with the midget boar knot, which, as I said, after soaking for a day or two in water, has softened up even more than it was before. And then the razor for this week is the Schick Injector. This is the Type I from 1955 to 1958, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, overall, fantastic set of products. Really, really happy with the soap. Really happy with the splash. This is one of those weeks where I feel kind of bummed to have to move on to the next thing, but the fact is that the next thing is probably going to be just as good as this. So it's a sadness tinged with sort of optimism, hope for the future. Well, I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to, of course, like with all previous videos, please feel free to leave comments or questions against this one or any previous video. Thank you so much for watching again, and until next time, goodbye.